Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Y and E podcast. Thank you for joining us. And if you haven't subscribed, please make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, engage with us in the comment section. The U.S. Congressman from Michigan, Congressman John James, has reportedly called for the release of Nnamdi Kanu and warned that Nigeria could face a serious cut to the aid in billions of dollars to the country. We mentioned that Nigeria receives billions of dollars in aid every year, and they would not be supporting genocide, and they would not be supporting a fast investigation, a fast judgment against Nnamdi Kanu. And when Nnamdi Kanu was sentenced to prison for the rest of his natural life, a lot of people spoke up for him. A lot of people were thinking, many people from this part of the country would support him and speak up. And it appears that the influential figures in that part of the country didn't speak out as much. But Congressman John James bringing this back to light, I believe it's a positive for his movement. It's a positive for his family members. And all he was advocating for is a just country where the Fulanis allegedly would not be killing other Nigerians in their country or using their animals to destroy crops of other members of the community. But in the last few years, it appears that, especially in Bono, Benue, they've been saying farmer elders clash, and our people are thinking that it's more of a Christian genocide than the insecurity issues the country has been facing in a very long time. So, Congressman John James bringing this back to light, it's a big deal, and I'm sure his family members should not be counting family members. We appreciate this, his supporters will appreciate this, and they're going to be putting the Nigerian government under pressure to do something. They've already went to court and they've already sentenced him to a prison for the rest of his natural lives. But the U.S. congressman working on a deal to get the Congress to make Nigerian government retry Nnamdi Kanu and make sure they follow the due process and make sure nothing is being shady about the judgment. So do you think this intervention will work?
Can't really preempt the intervention. I can't really say if it will work or not. But the congressman is a Republican from Michigan. I think he represented the 10th congressional district. Maybe it will work because he's a Republican. Maybe he can speak to Trump. He can be able to convince Trump to to move in his direction. But one thing I know for sure, it does appear that the continuous detention of Nnamdi Kanu, I don't think that case that justice was served. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, I would be very happy to hear that side of the argument. But I have a strong feeling that what happened to Nnamdi Kanu, he was just caught in the web of politics. Because we literally have the likes of Sheikh Gumi. In fact, Sheikh Gumi about a couple days ago is saying that during Jonathan's time, I think it was Jonathan's time, if I'm correct, that Jonathan was going to negotiate with the Niger Delta boys. So basically, Sheikh Gumi is asking who is going to meet and, negotiate on behalf of the bandits. Sheikh Gumi, by all measure, is not supposed to be a free man. He's supposed to be locked up somewhere, maybe go through the court system because he doesn't appear he is a bandit, whatever sympathizer. So, and I want to believe that it was the same thing that, they're accusing Nnamdi of doing. And today, Nnamdi Kanu has been sentenced to life in prison, in Sokoto prison. Sheikh Gumi is walking freely. Sunday Igboho was, basically called for, protection of the Yorubas. And today, he's a free man. He's walking around, and he literally committed the same crime with Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu basically called for the secession of the Igbos, and that was the same thing Sunday Igboho did. And today, Sunday Igboho is a free man to the point that he's even threatening people not to come to to the West to campaign for election. Sometimes when you hear about, a section of the country like the Igbos saying that they are marginalized and then they are treated differently, I think they based their, their argument on those things. And there is no way, if you are a rational human being, there is no way you will be able to rationalize the way they treat them sometimes. There is no way you will be able to rationalize it. There is no way you will not see problem with the way Nigerian government, sometimes deal with them. In fact, if you want to look at it critically, the infrastructures, Tinubu basically borrowed money to build roads, and none of those roads are situated in the east. In a working country, they should have a train, a cargo train that moves from Lagos, all the ports in Lagos to the east, that goes directly to the east. It could be underground train, because I'm not sure why a container would take about 1 week to get from Lagos to the east, to clear. So based on all of those things, if you are rational in your thinking, you will definitely believe that the Igbos are, treated in a certain way. So Nnamdi Kanu, I don't really I was talking to you before we came on air. It would be a miracle for him to come home before he finishes jail term. Not that people are not interested in negotiating on his behalf, but the problem is that I don't think those people that are willing to negotiate on his behalf will be willing to pay the political price. A lot of them have political ambitions that they've been nursing, especially for presidency. So I don't think they want to use Nnamdi Kanu to jeopardize their political career. So there is no political will, and I don't see any of them, negotiating on his behalf. Nobody, and none of them, like I'm saying them, David Umahi. I don't think a lot of them want to pay that political price to get him home before he finishes term.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, that nobody wants to take that risk, especially the big wigs in the eastern part of the country. But it's unfortunate that Kanu is being made as a scapegoat to be the fall guy for all the atrocities that the people in the government committed. And let me say this about the Sheikh Kumi situation. I mean, it's no doubt that Sheikh Gumi is a bandit sympathizer, and in comparing the band-aids to what happened with the Niger Delta guys is very, very irresponsible, in my opinion. Right? I think it's very irresponsible. The Niger Delta guys, they're fighting for their communities. They're fighting for a better life for the people living in the community where Nigeria gets its wealth from. Right? These oil companies will come into these communities. They will decimate the land, pollute the water, pollute the stream, and it's been difficult for those people to leave. So they're saying that in order for us to continue to allow these oil companies to do their job, they need to guarantee the safety of the people in that community. They need to make sure they're providing a safe environment for those people. Right? The people live around water, on water, and they don't have good water. There are no fishes in the river, and it's sad. That is what the Niger Delta guys are fighting for. Tell me, what are the bandits fighting for? Are they fighting to get money from the government? Who's gonna give you money if you don't work? How are you gonna make money if you're not producing anything, or if you're not adding value to the economy, or solving any problems, right? So they create their own problems by kidnapping people, and then they get paid for it. How is that in comparison to what happened or what's happening in the Niger Delta region? I think in comparing that, they're oranges to apples, and I believe it's critically irresponsible for him to make that comparison, and it's just unfortunate. And I just want to encourage, that congressman from Michigan, John James, to continue to push, right? Everybody knew that what took him to court was a sham. Judgment was a sham trial, and he's just been made a scapegoat. I mean, no one is going to support anyone asking for people to take arms against the government. We're not going to support that. But the man is deeply simply asking, hey, if you don't want any Igbos to participate in the government, to be the president of the country, give them a path, give them a way out of the country. Let them go start their own country. Let them go, find something better that they can do, because it looks like the union between the East, West, North, it's not truly working on in their favor. It's working in the favor of the South. South have produced multiple presidents. North have produced multiple presidents. But for the folks in the East, it looks like they're not part of the country. And historically, they've been marginalized. We've heard stories of what happened in the 80s and the 90s, where many people had to leave their country, had to flee that environment. So it's just so sad that we look alike. We speak close to the same language, you understand each other. By the end of the day, politics is still dividing us, and people are still not being taken care of when it is the job of the government to take care of the people.
I agree with you that politics is taking over everything, and it's so sad that this is where our politics is today. In fact, left for me, I don't even the idea of somebody from the west or somebody from the east or somebody from the north becoming a president. I don't fancy that idea. I don't propagate that idea. My idea at some point, I will want Nigeria to to start having like a merit based presidential candidate where if you are contesting, you have the opportunity to debate to debate, and then eventually the best person becomes the president. Not technically the best person, but the best of the candidate will eventually emerge. That is what I want to see in Nigeria. I don't the way the way we microzone things to we microzone it to the north, and then in the north they will say north central, not that is not how to. I don't think that is ideal way to govern Nigeria. I eventually want to see a Nigeria where the best of the best will rule us, not what we currently have, where the least of us is basically leading us. So in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, the only thing that will solve that case, that will make him come home before he finish his time, is for them to find a political solution. And at some point, like sometime last year, I was thinking that Tinubu is moving in that direction. I thought that he was going to use it as a bargaining chip with the Igbos, the Southeast governors, but eventually it did not happen. Although we still have time, maybe we are not there yet. But hopefully Tinubu will be able to, look into the case critically. I know he can pull a lot of strings, he can do a lot of stuff, but a lot of time, things that they could do, they don't want to do it because it's too much of a political price to pay. And currently, I don't see Tinubu trying to rock any boat. He's trying to consolidate. He's trying to win the election. Anything that will put an obstacle in his way, I don't think he's willing to undertake that kind of, endeavor. So it's a big political risk. But we'll see. We'll keep talking about it. But most people definitely know that what the judgment, whatever the trial, the judgment, everything was a sham. So hopefully, at some point in the future, God will probably touch somebody and then use them to release him, and then so that he will go back, to meet and see, be with his family. So let us know what you think, and we'll be happy to engage with you in the comment section.